Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the worst reviews ever. So I got Casey Fred in here, amazing, and your boy, the sophisticated jerk. So today, we're gonna jump into the movie Straw, the one by Tyler Perry, the new one. But before I jump in there, I just want to give a shout out to my sister T. She just had her birthday, so happy birthday, T. Old as dirt. But all right, we'll go ahead and jump in. But let me pull these slides up. But all right, so Straw is a 2025 American psychological crime drama film written, produced, and directed by Tyler Perry. So, damn, I didn't realize I was getting this old, man. Let me pull this up real quick. So, a single mother's world unravels in chaos as her day goes from bad to worse to catastrophic as she struggles to care for her ill daughter. Pushed to the brink by a world that seems so indifferent to her existence, she's forced to confront impossible choices in a society that offers her no safety net. Damn, that was a lot. So, all right, director and produced by Tyler Perry, produced again by Tyler Perry, Angie Bones, and Tony Strickland. So the cast on this movie: Taraji P. Henson as Janiyah, Sherry Shepard as Nicole, Tiana Taylor as Detective K. Raymond, Sinbad as Benny. Man, I didn't realize that was Sinbad until I looked at the names. I was like, my man getting old, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Rockman Dunbar as Chief Wilson, Ashley Verscher as Tessa George, Mike Morrell as Detective Grimes, and Glenn Truman as Richard. So, all right, man, let's go ahead. I'm going to pull up the trailer real quick so we could check that out, and then we're going to jump in the rating. I'm actually I definitely want to see y'all ratings on this one. I know a lot of people got mixed reviews on this one.
I didn't mean to do this. Something inside of me broke. I told them I need my money to get my daughter's medicine. She's sick. I just need to cash my check, that's all. No! Please, come on out. I just want to do what's right for my baby. Lock the door. Tell them to close the room. Figure this out. I don't want you to get hurt. I got put out today. We have nowhere to live. And that man robbed me. I need it for my daughter. You want to kill me. You want to blame me for robbing this bank, and I didn't do it. You can't help me. Nobody ever helped me. This is bad, Janiyah. This is not your average bank robbery. This is about giving her a chance. It seems like you had a lot to get over today.
All right, let me pull these slides back up. But all right, so we're gonna start from the bottom up. So Casey Fred, what's your rating for this movie?
I actually gave it a 5.5.
Okay. Casey Fred with the average rating. Amazing. What's your rating for the movie?
I hate to be a copycat, but I was also gonna pick 5.5.
Okay. All right. For me, I'm kind of in the same range, but I give it a little close to like good. So I'm gonna go to like 5.8. So I'll give it up that, but I'm still in average territory. So all right, Casey Fred, we're gonna start with you first.
Okay, the reason why I gave it this rating of 5.5 is it was just like, I understand where people have a bad day, And then there's been times where people have had a bad day and became a worse day. But when all of a sudden it went from bad to worse to just basically, I felt like nuclear. That was when it was just felt like it was over the top for me. And I, I'm a big fan um, of Henson and Sherry Shepard. I felt like those two were really the ones that really um, kind of helped the movie as far as to get it there for me not to feel like it was worse than what it was. But it just, I know a lot of people get through a lot of emotions, but just the way it went, I don't know. It just felt like it was just too much. Um, the only thing I can really think about is there was a guy 6 days ago. His name is Joey Chestnut, and he was able to eat 70 hot dogs and become Nathan's America's hot dog winner of the year. And he was able to do that 70 hot dogs in basically 10 minutes. And I felt like Tyler just crammed all the emotions in every aspect of what normally happens in an action movie and drama into an hour and 45 minutes. And it just, some things felt rushed, some things just felt crammed, some things were not even really explained. Really, it kind of left you confused and then like make you say why a lot of times. And then on top of that, it just, you couldn't really stay with one emotion because one thing, something else was happening. And anytime you want to feel bad for the main character, there was that other side that almost made you angry at that same character. So, I mean, it was just like, it was a lot of things. And I understand, usually a lot of the storylines and the plots is about, woe is me when it comes to black men, but it was his perspective of, of how a single black woman is being treated. And so, and the grievances that she had were legit and I understood them, but it was just felt like it was over the top as far as all of that happened in one day. As far as some of the scenes of the emotions, I mean, like you knew that she was fatigued. She was a single mother. She was giving her all. And some of the things that were just going bad was her not being able to, you know, be able to have pay her rent and not given the opportunity or enough time to be able to do something about it and just, you know, no remorse, just putting her stuff out on the street. Her daughter being ridiculed about $40, which of course that kept going out throughout the whole movie. I just need my $40 so I can just pay for my daughter. You know, the administration not understanding at the school, of what she was going through. As far as the child enforcement, you know what I mean, supposedly taking, her daughter away type of situation. As far as her boss not giving her an advancement, and as far as the customers that she had to deal with, all of a sudden they are mistreating her, and not understanding the rules and regulations of the store that she worked at. Her boss Richard, who I thought was really cool. Something that I did like, they kind of pulled two characters, two people from different world from back in the '90s. The guy that played the general in Different World, and also Sinbad, who's a famous comedian. He was the beggar. I think his name was Benny in this. I thought that was really cool that they kind of put Tyler Perry, put them in there and stuff. So you saw some recognizable faces and stuff like that. But once again, he played Richard, who was her boss, and not understanding, and then basically firing her. And then, of course, she was trying to get her check, and then the process of her trying to get her check, her last check, to be honest with you, that's when all of a sudden she's getting robbed. and then all of a sudden, those robbers tried to take her baby's bag, who supposedly had her, I think it was seizure medicine or something like that, and then all of a sudden, uh, you know, tussling with the gun, and she kills them, and then all of a sudden, went to go ahead and get her check, and then next thing you know, is ends up shooting her boss as well, and then she still grabs the check and then proceeds to be able to try to go to the bank to be able to try to cash that, even with blood and everything on it, because at the end of the day, in her mind, she still wants to be able to take care of her baby. And even before that, she had an altercation on the road as far as her vehicle is concerned. But getting back to the bank, that's where all of a sudden she goes in there, and it's like we all forget that she still had that gun in her hand, and she's waving around at the teller, and the teller all of a sudden is like, "This is not normal," and pushes the button, and that's where all of a sudden the police show up, and that's when everything, before she knows that she's on TV and they're filming her what's on the inside, and it was just so many things that was just happening, and it's just like, it just, after a while, it just felt unbelievable. And instead of just, it was just rapid fire of, bang bang bang, of bad situations that she was falling into, and misunderstanding, even when the FBI supposedly showed up and everything like that, and then of course, it just keeps going, and then the manager, who ends up Sherry Shepard, I think her name was Nicole, ends up being there and really trying to, not only protect her people at the bank, but also sympathize with her, and felt like she was trying to understand where she was coming from in her situation. And so, like I said, you had a bunch of all these emotions, but at the end of the day, it left the audience, I felt like, overwhelmed. And it was just like, you didn't know whether to be mad at this chick, you didn't know whether to feel sad for her. There was moments where all of a sudden, uh, I don't know. It cracked me up because the teller, I'm trying to remember what her name was. Was it Tessa or something like that? I can't remember exactly. But you pull a gun on her, she's not going to be happy. And then the whole time she's trying to figure out how to get out of there. So when she finally gets the chance, she's ready to go. And she is not looking back, no, nothing. Hey, I was supposed to be off work a long time ago. This girl tried to put a gun on me. Now we supposed to be sympathizing. No, I don't think so. I want out, and it's like they're telling her, hey, turn the other cheek. And she's like, no, I'm not feeling this. I'm supposed to be off. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be out of here. And I felt like more people could relate to that situation, because that was a bad experience, and something that many times people have found themselves getting into something and they don't even know how they got involved or how they got into it. Then what was going on with Henderson slash Jay. And so I just, if I could change anything about the directors or producer of the movie, what would I change? I think I would let everyone to be able to, like, break this movie down, and not so many things happening all at once, where it was just felt like it was over the top. Because to my knowledge, I don't know anybody in real life, whether it's on the news or even in other movies, that this has really happened to, especially so many things, and especially all in one day. And so I would kind of like break it down so everyone could understand. I mean, I understand they wanted, uh, Tyler wanted everybody to be able to feel what she was going through, but at the end of the day, it was really, the bottom line was, it was about the loss of her and her daughter at the end. And to me, I felt like that was the big thing that she really had a very hard time dealing with. And then everything else was just icing on the cake. Um, would I recommend this to anybody? I got mixed feelings about that. that too, because at the end of the day, I'm like, it depends on what mood that person is in that I would even recognize that too. Because it, for me, I felt like one time was good enough. I can't see myself saying, "Hey, let's go back and watch this movie over and over again." And that's probably one of the reasons why I couldn't give it a real high score. I mean, there's certain movies that are classic and certain movies that are great and stuff like that. But this movie right here just had such a bad and almost kind of a negative overtone to it. You wouldn't want any of you or your family to even go through anything like this. And so that's why I just felt like it was just way too much. And so I guess in essence, would I recommend this movie to anyone? I guess at the bottom line, I would say probably no, just being honest with you. And so Tyler Perry, he's made a lot of great movies. And like I said, I do tip my hat to Henson and Sherry Shepherd because, like I said, they had some very good performances in this to try to hold it together. But it just felt like it was just too much. And there was a lot of jumping around back and forth, which I understand that's what movies do. But also at the end of the day, I just felt like this doesn't seem realistic and doesn't feel real where all of a sudden one of us could actually, this could happen to. So I'll leave it to you guys.
All right, amazing.
Let's see. I went with a 5.5. I honestly will probably drop. I gave it a 5.5 in the beginning just to say what I like about it and then go into the reason why I have to drop. I liked the overall plot, I guess, and storyline. The things I don't like, and I'm increasingly disliking Tyler Perry movies just because I feel like he's to me, he's gone too far over the top in like everything from Taraji's character and like you said, Fred, like any and everything I'm surprised they didn't have a pet that died also in her house. Like I felt like not everything is going to happen in that one day. Like to me, that was just kind of unbelievable. And then, like you said, it was just like so much where if they would have stuck to even like the cop and then had the twist with the daughter at the end, like I thought that was really good. Just the way, but then even the cop scene, what was his name? Darn, I don't remember. But anyways, the cop that like rammed into her car and was just like, completely like psychotic, where I just felt like even that character was like so over the top. Her boss Richard, again, extremely over the top, where it was like amusing on how petty and disgusting he was. Just like, gotta mail your check, even though it's right in my hand. It's your last check. You got 30 minutes. You can't go nowhere. I was just like, this guy, it was just like funny. He was so crazy. Even the people, like the customers in that store, I was like, where in the world is this store? Like trying to use your WIC coupons, throwing beer bottles at her feet because she wouldn't take the snap. And it was just like every single aspect was so over the top. The negotiator, like when she was doing a good job and then the negotiator comes in, is like, no, we're going in there. And I'm like, there's no way like what in the world is happening right now? So like I felt like so many of those I think all of those scenes would have been better had they not been so over the top, because then you could have kind of like, knowing at the end, which was a huge twist when you find out it's the daughter that dies. Like that definitely 100%, it's believable, could have put her in a psychotic break where, maybe she was delusional, didn't know what was going on. But they didn't need to add all that other stuff. To me, that took away from the actual the whole plot and storyline. I love Sherry Shepherd. I love her talk show. I've always been a fan of hers, and I do think her and Taraji did an excellent job. Like their performances, I think, were amazing. I did hear, and I looked it up because I thought it was kind of crazy, but I guess goes in with the theme of kind of everything getting thrown in at once. They filmed this movie in 4 days. I thought that was kind of crazy. Just
makes sense now.
They just went in there, did it, and like departed. So yeah, I thought that was crazy. I thought this scene was kind of it just made me think. But so when Taraji, you know, like her and Sherry have kind of bonded, and Sherry's really, you know, like she just has a sympathetic face. I think like her acting ability, I think, is amazing. But when Taraji's character is like, "Will you take my daughter? I don't have anybody," and like both of that whole scene, but then I just like in my head I was like, I wonder what would happen if that was me in that situation. And then Sherry was like, I have to ask my husband, and in my head I was like, oh man, if that was me, they better not call my house. Could be like, nope.
Facts. Just like, would you click?
I was like, don't call them, just say yes.
Straight up. Yeah.
I just like, there was just some scenes I thought was just like, it was just so over the top. Even the Tessa, like her character, just being like you said, like, I want to go home too, but come on, if this lady's holding up the bank, like, calm down, little attitude girl. So it was just like so far beyond. I'm trying to think. I want to take all the spots, but the other part that going back to Richard, the most like trashiest manager of the most horrible store ever. When he calls 911 and is like, I got robbed, and Janiyah was in on it. She knew what was going on. And she's like, no, my tag. And I was like, Lordy. And then I will say, not that I agree with the shooting, but I was like, thank you, because he deserved that. Maybe she should have just sent some kneecap so he didn't die, but he definitely he deserved a couple bullets for his mouth. Otherwise, let's see. Yeah, it was just so much where, you know, like you get kicked out, your stuff is on the curb. You have the landlady yelling at you, and then you got poor Benny over here like, can I have a couple dollars? I'm not going to lie. I did kind of think, I know it's not the same thing, but like, why are you giving him money when... And then I'm like, does Benny live on the street, or does he live in an apartment? Because then when it went back to him, I don't know if y'all noticed, I'm pretty sure he was like on second floor or something. I thought, because I was like, how do you have this? He's under the roof. So anyway, I don't know. I probably recommend it, but I would definitely have to like let people know, like, this is your regular Tyler Perry in the last 5 years times 10. Like he's gotten over. It's like somebody that starts drinking a little bit and he's full blown alcoholic. Like, this is that. That's my ending.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. Mine was I think I had a 5.8. So going back, I gave it a 5.8. Pretty much like y'all said, man. It was just, I think it had a good message. Like, she, you know, just kind of be cautious of people, because it's like, man, you never know what they're dealing with. So I get where he was going with that. Like, you know, have a little bit of sympathy towards people, man, because you just don't know what they're going through. So it's like, definitely like that spin on it. But like I said, okay, she goes to work. Like Amazing was saying, like, just how impatient people were. it was like, all right, man, I know like there'd be some people like whining in lines, but to that extent, then she go in the back, there's a robbery, then the police guy, you know, swipes into her car, and, you know, it's just like all those people are like watching him out there, and he's just all reckless like that, just out in public. So I'm like, God damn, what y'all like find every asshole prototype and merge it into this movie. So it's just it's just like it was like nonstop because it was like then it was that cop on the road. Then it was in the bank. It was like the one chick, couple of chicks in there that were like super assholes. Then it was like the negotiator guy, because even though the one lady was making inroads, he was like, "No, we're taking this over. We're going inside that bank." So it's like, damn, which like it was just like I said, he turned a good message into like just a kind of a comedy, man. Because it should have been sad, but it was just like when you started seeing some of them like scenes and stuff, it's like, damn, like it turned funny. So I think it lost like the message and stuff. Then it was just like there was too many like I say like what they call them like tropes into the movie because they had like every single one. And I think the funniest scene I would say was when Taraji kind of broke, but she was talking to somebody. She was like, "Girl, whoever you select in life, that's one of the most important decisions." But that was like 2 seconds of the movie, and I'm like, they should have did a flashback of the guy, like, because I think being amazing, always be arguing about this, and I'm like, everybody that makes a bad decision, there's at least like probably like 2 to 3 people that's like, "Girl, he got some red flags. Don't mess with that guy." So I think, man, like a lot of times when she just glanced over that little segment, I'm like, they should have shown some flashbacks and people like giving her like, "Don't go mess with that guy over there. This ain't gonna end good." So it's like, Tyler Perry, you want to give some messages. You gotta do it right. You gotta give all the messages.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just so many tropes. Cause like I said, it was just the one where it's like, all right, man, have sympathy towards people. People could be, they're just scraping by. Stick with that message, but he had the cop in there, the cop message where it's like they don't like people, they're against you. Then you had the bank, aka big bank, don't care about the little guy message. So it was just a lot. And all the sequences, it's just like, damn, it's like a day there, everything could go wrong and stuff. And meanwhile, she's just mentally snapped. So yeah, he should have just like, if you wanted to do the whole bank thing, like some set it off type stuff, it's like, man, make her snap early. If I would do the changes, I would have been like, make her where she's hard up for the money, and in order to like do something, she might have to like rob the store or the bank, and you leave it at that. But he's gonna left the whole cop scene out, with that situation. And if he chose like, okay, she's gonna go rob the store, her boss, because he was an asshole. It's just like leave the whole bank scene out. So definitely could have been condensed and, elaborated more on like her plotting, and that type of stuff, and then they could have put the spin still in there, but like, damn, you did all that, but your daughter did pass, but it just drove you to the edge to like take out your shitty boss. And I think it would have been a good movie at that point. I'm like, oh, damn, okay, this makes sense. But yeah, it was just too much because it was like sequence after sequence that just did not connect. And then it just had you laughing, like I said, when you should have been sad. So yeah, I think Tyler Perry definitely like stepped on the message. Would I recommend this to anybody? Man, no. But I do think like people need to see bad movies to like see like not, bad sequencing in a movie. Because like I said, Taraji, man, she acted her ass off because they, that's my girl, man. And they had her looking musty as hell. So yeah, she's just a great actress because like, like how she looked, you're like, damn, boy, you saw the struggle in her. But like I said, it was just so much shit going on in the movie where, like I said, because it just made it almost like somewhat of a comedy. So yeah, you just lost like the sympathy for her where you're supposed to be feeling sad. Because even at the end, I felt sad. I'm like, damn. Oh yeah, one more change I would have made in the movie that I thought would have been funny since they like win all this craziness. When the lady was like, yeah, I'll walk you outside. So I think like if they would have started walking in the door like during the bank, like she's gonna walk her out there. But as soon as they got to the door, she would have just like pushed her outside and locked the door. Like, fuck that. Hey y'all, she's out there. He's like, come get her. I thought that would have been hilarious, but just be like, I ain't about to get shot out here. Shit, rob this bank. I'm getting home late, my husband. But yeah, I thought they should have done that at the end. That would have been hilarious. So all right, we're gonna get to the final rating. Y'all gonna go up, go down, or stay the same? So amazing. We going to you first. So what you dropping to?
I'm dropping to 4.5.
Woo.
Dang. So you went down to decent territory. Okay. Shout out to Mason. Mason went from 5.5 to 4.5. So
Only because I wanted to make it clear. I liked the overall, like you said, the message was there. It was just it was drowned out by all the other nonsense. And it was like the very, like, could you pick one time to maybe focus on positive stereotypes? Like, he focuses on like the negative every single time for the most part. Anyways, 4.5.
Okay, I'm with you. All right, Casey, Fred, you going up, down? Are you staying the same?
You know what? I think after listening to you two, I think I'm going to put it at a 5 because I had it at a 5.5 and everything, but honestly, that hour and 45 minutes and you just cramming everything, I don't know, didn't that feel like a woman buying spandex and all of a sudden trying to cram all that stuff into the spandex and you ain't supposed to be wearing them. I just feel violated. You know what I'm saying? Like it was too much for the senses. It was just like you might supposed to go through like maybe 1, maybe 2, 3 max as far as incidents. But it was so much. And this was all just in one day. It wasn't like 2 or 3 days or a week or something like that. It was all in one day. The bank was just across the street. And this is after you killed 2 people. I just was like,
yeah.
I really thought, and this is just being honest with you, I really thought they was going to kill her. I really did.
I thought so.
I really did. And to be honest with you, I thought it was going to be like, the only thing that comes close was set it off, whereas like you do the time, well, now you got to pay the crime. So it was just like, and did she deserve it? Come on, man. You can't reward bad behavior. I don't care who you are, at least not in this country. You can't, And so I'm just thankful she didn't kill a cop because I don't think this movie would have even last more than 45 minutes. She already been gone. And so I'm just saying, we was talking about all the stereotypes that even the cops were having, but no matter how you saw it or the misunderstanding or, ooh, she was just trying to get her check and ooh, blah, 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 mistreatment and stuff, you still killed 2 people. I mean, no matter how you look at it, you still going to jail. And so I don't think you can even, like I said, it was really hard to sympathize with the character. It really was. I mean, even though it was a serious loss, I mean, this was the one thing that kept your light on in your heart. And I feel like every mother feels that way about their child. And plus, she has given so much. She has put blood, sweat, and tears just to be able to get her that far. And she was a baby that had physical issues. And to be able to lose her in the capacity that she did. And I mean, it's what the movie said. That was the last straw. And so I understand snapping, but at the end of the day, so many things, it was just hard to take, not to mention hard to bear and hard to see. So I think I was just going to pretty much just put it right there at a 5 because, like I said, it really felt very unrealistic. I think that's the best way I can say it. So
yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to drop because I don't want to be cheesy and go down to decent. But this is a bad movie, man. So I gotta I gotta go to 4, where it's like on a line of like bad and decent, because yeah, just when I was talking it out, like I said, man, it's just too much. Like, and they did this in like a 4 hours. It makes sense. It was like, hey, man, we got a little bit of paper. He was like, I'm gonna throw some controversy in there. But this was a shitty movie. He just had some time on his hands. He was like, shit, we're gonna make the little trope. We're gonna throw it out there. And so yeah, they lost the message. If he would have done it with some of the stuff removed and tightened up on the plot a little bit, man, I would have had this probably in the 6 category. Because like I said, man, people are snapping. They got a lot on their back. So I definitely think that message would have connect. But he turned it into a comedy damn near with all that stuff. So yeah, it was a bad movie, man. I like I said, good message, but too much. They try to add in all the action and stuff. And it was just way too much for that day.
Yeah, I think you made a good point, because I really do feel if it wasn't for the characters like Taraji and Sherry, I be honest with you, I would probably put it at a 3. Now that I'm thinking about it. You remember correctly, I had those two saying, I remember saying that they were the ones that carried this movie. And I really do feel that. So as far as him picking the right people, yes. But as far as the plot and the way it went down, no. If there was somebody else that was playing these parts, I mean, we would be living up to our names, the worst reviews ever, because for real, I would be probably having a hard time even saying the number 3, just being honest with you, because it was so unrealistic. And like, even Amazing was saying everything was over the top, and we can't even eat food when somebody cooks and they're just doing way too much. Have you ever had a cake where all of a sudden they just put way too much icing and you just felt like you was, or way too much stuff on your sundae and you feel like you was about to have a stroke? I mean, it was just way too much for your senses to even be able to handle, or to be able to even think like, why would I want to finish watching this movie, or why would I want to even share this with someone else? Like I said, you just trying to cram too much in such a short period of time, when this could have been, and we say it a lot, but it could have been a mini series. It could have been, where they have 6 or 7, episodes or something like that. Then we could probably breathe and be able to be like, okay, I got you. I can understand that. I can kind of relate. Over a few days, maybe in a couple of weeks, okay, I can relate. But all in one day, one shot, nah, that's just almost impossible for any of us. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. But all right, y'all, definitely check it out. Let us know if we tripping. But keep tuning in. Peace.
Peace.